Hi everyone, how's everyone doing tonight? Hello, sorry about that. So, and I wasn't here last week. Hi everyone, how's everyone doing tonight? Sound. Hello. There we go. So, Bitcoin. Well, in the 2 weeks since we last spoke, Bitcoin's been really tricky. I'm going to start with a daily chart of Bitcoin. And here we are bimbling along sideways. We had a little excitement 2 weeks ago when we got above the daily moving averages, and I thought that we were going to have a shallow pullback and another swing higher, but we failed at the daily 50 moving average. So here we are back on the back foot again. Again, I thought, with the bullish moves last week that maybe we would see some follow through from this bullish hammer that we had last week. But again, sadly, we've got inside bars and we're back retesting the lows. So what does this mean for Bitcoin? Somebody in my group asked me tonight, was there any chance that this big rally that we've seen from the December 2018 low is just an A leg, and this is going to be a B leg lower and a C leg, and we're not actually going to see new highs in Bitcoin? And I have to say, the truth is, I don't know. Anybody who tells you they do know is a charlatan, to be quite honest, because anything could happen. But there are a number of reasons that make me think we will see new highs. And I'm going to go to a weekly chart. The first one on this weekly chart is, look at this beautiful bounce from the weekly 200 moving average and how we have sorted our weekly moving averages out back to bullish again. The next thing and this, is a clear sign of an uptrend. And if we look back at what we did from the rally from the 2015 low, which was clearly a trend move, not a correction, we held this weekly 20 moving average all of the way up, literally from the bottom that we made in September 2015 to the top that we made in December 2017. Every single time we pulled back to this 20 moving average on the weekly chart, we held it as support and up we went. And here we are, we've done the same pattern again. We've bounced off the 200 moving average, we've crossed our 20 and 50 bullish, so we're in this phase here, and now we're doing that bit where we come back and we retest the 20 moving average before hopefully we go higher. I think if we lose this 20 moving average, that then we are going to be in a bigger correction. But if you think that this is a wave one and we're only in a wave two, we have a lot of a way that we could come back and not damage this uptrend at all. We could come back easily to the weekly 50 moving average, which is like our backstop, if you like. We could come back easily 50% of this rally and do no damage to this uptrend at all. And I think the only time we're going to find out if this is an A leg or a wave one is when we see what happens in the next leg higher. Because the next leg higher, if it is impulsive and we are going to go to new highs, should we see a really strong move. The other reason I think that the correction was over here in the low that we made in sort of December, January, is that corrections are very often 1/3 of the preceding rally, and this correction here, the January low, was 1/3 of this rally that we saw from the 2015 low. So it does, to me, point to a bottom. So it's just a question now of how far are we going to pull back before we make the next leg higher. So clearly we know from this now that we've got very good support when we retest the area of the weekly 20 moving average, which is at the moment around 9,400. And 9,400 is also the bottom of this 618 38.2 zone that we're in. So if we lose that 38.2, then we're going to drop to the weekly 50 moving average, and we're probably going to drop 50% of this rally. And if we go 50% of this rally and we look at it like this, 50% would take us to 8,500. 61.8 would take us. Let's do that. 61.8 would take us down here to around 7,200 as well. So there's another reason why I think we could end up at 7,200. And that is if we go to a daily chart. And we say we call this a big A leg, you know, or an XYZ, and this is a big B leg, then the retest of the lows here at 91.70 is where 61.8 of this first leg comes in. So that's going to be my first target on the downside, 91.70. And I'm expecting a really good bounce there and no weekly close below the weekly 20 moving average. But if we lose this level at 91.70, then 7,259 again is where I think that we're going to end up. So, you know, I'm hoping for the retest of the hope. You know, hope's not a trading strategy though. You know, you really have to watch and see and wait for it to establish a base or a level that, you know, we can buy against with some confidence. And at the moment, you know, we're just drifting sideways, and we're really chopping people up. You know, everybody gets really bullish and excited. I certainly did 4 days ago with that really bullish candle and that bullish move, but just no follow through. So I think that we really now have to wait and see some follow through and, you know, establish a move and then buy pullbacks in Bitcoin. So I'm being a little bit cautious at the moment, and I'm going to sit on my hands until we see those lows in that 91.70 level established. And so the main answer to your question is, you know, how do I know if this was just an A leg or a wave one? The answer is I don't know, but we will know when we see how the next leg unfolds. That will be key. Okay, so the next one is ETH, which recently has been massively outperforming Bitcoin. And if when we look at the daily chart, you know, we've got Bitcoin with sideways moving averages and, you know, floating along underneath them sideways. Miguel says, Nick, with my Elliott Wave hat on, even if this was only an A leg, the last 2 months would be a triangle B wave, which would imply new highs for the C wave. So either way, either way, Miguel, I agree. Either way, we're going to rally. The difference is in this rally is whether we see new highs, you know, above the December 2017 highs. You know, because if this is just a sort of ABC and this is a triangle and we stop here, you know, we could see a retest of the highs, but it kind of limits our upside, doesn't it? You know, and, you know, more likely, whereas, you know, if this is a big wave 3 about to begin, then we have, you know, either way, we're going to trade it however it sets up. We're going to buy it when it's ready, and we're going to 8,700. The double top, this high is going to be a real challenge. And you know, there are people who've held their Bitcoin, who rode it all the way up here and may have only bought it, you know, in the last couple of months before the end of that rally, and have ridden it all the way down. And when it comes back, they're going to be going, thank God, you know, and let's hope they don't sell. So let's see. How the next leg unfolds is going to tell us a lot. I'm kind of not feeling this as a triangle. I do think in Elliott Wave terms, I think we may have seen, let's go look at corrective waves. I think we may have seen what they call a combination double and triple three, which is like this. So we're either going to, if we hold the lows and those 9,100, we'll do a pattern like this. If we don't, we'll see a pattern like this. I think that that's pretty much what we're looking at in Bitcoin. So we see how it folds. Okay, let's go back to the beginning, because we're going to talk some more about Ethereum, which I think in terms of trying to make a bottom, if we look at Ethereum against Bitcoin and on our daily chart, which I haven't got here. If we look at Ethereum against Bitcoin on our daily chart, we have a much better look of a bottom going on here. I really like how we've gotten above the 200-day moving average, and potentially today trying to find some support here. We've kind of slowed down, we've gone sideways. Here we are sitting on it, really sitting on the hourly 200 and sitting on the daily 200 as well. So I would really like to see this consolidation break to the upside and see if we can follow through and continue on higher in Ethereum. If we look at on the 4 hour, we've got our 4 hour moving averages as well. The issue is going to be for me as a Fibonacci person, I'm going to draw this from the high to the low, and we're going to put on our 236 fib, and that's really this is where we're going sideways at this 236 fib level. And sometimes when you break a level and do this, I really don't want to see it like a head and shoulders pattern or something here. I'd like to see us back above this 236 fib level, which has now been resistance for the last couple of days and continuing higher. So that comes in at 211 here at Binance. I think it's 212 at Coinbase when I was looking at there, or something like that. So I think back above 212 and we will be in a new swing higher. We will have regained that fib level, and I'd be looking for 266 next. So that's what I want to see in Ethereum. If we lose this lows, then obviously bigger correction underway and time to go back to sitting on our hands. If we take a quick peek at ETH Bitcoin, you can see that this has been a massive rally in Ethereum against Bitcoin. Not only that, but we've overcome that 236 fib resistance level, this swing low, and so for me all this is all pointing to at least another leg higher in Ethereum against Bitcoin. So I'm looking for us to continue to outperform in ETH against Bitcoin and back to around 0.02670, where these two previous double bottom lows are, and the 200-day moving average. So I think that we should see shallow pullbacks for the ETH against Bitcoin, and Ethereum continue to outperform. Okay, so the next one that we're going to take a peek at, I'll look at BAT. Hello, Andreas. I will look at BAT at the end. The next one I'm going to take a look at now. Last week I got really quite excited about how the alts were looking. Certainly this morning I was quite excited about how Litecoin was looking. I've got the wrong chart up. They've changed how they do this. Okay, here's Litecoin. This is Litecoin US dollar, an hourly chart, and this is where we were when I got up this morning, and it was all looking really good. But the same thing happened. We made it look like a bit of an ABC correction. We couldn't get past, again, fibs from the highs. We couldn't get really past this 236 fib level and sustain it, and we couldn't hold above this 200 moving average either. So we got a little bit stuck in Litecoin. Unless we can and we turn back higher again, this is starting to look like a bear flag to me underneath resistance and pointing to more downside. If we look at the daily, it's not really, you can see where our trouble is from these daily moving averages and these previous lows as well. So we're not really out and back in an uptrend yet in Litecoin, unfortunately. So still looking for a little bit lower. Let's put our fibs the other way. See where we come back to support and the 200 moving average. And we're kind of sitting on this 50% level. So clearly 71.16, if that breaks in Litecoin US dollar, 61.8 will be next. We've bounced pretty nicely off. So we are respecting these fib retrace levels, but that's where I would be looking towards next and towards 69. So whenever you have a bear flag like this, or a triangle or a rising wedge, whenever you trade it, your first trouble level is going to be the previous low. That's, if you're going to see a bounce that'll take you out, that's where you should be looking for trouble. Okay. Crypto economy, I do think we'll see 9,150 in Bitcoin, yes. I think ETH is set to outperform Bitcoin for a little bit longer as well. Excuse me. Okay, so that's Litecoin. I'm going to take a quick peek at Litecoin Bitcoin, because this is another one that got me all a little bit excited that we might be continuing to outperform Bitcoin in this one as well. I do still think that that may be the case. We've got a really nice bullish cross of our daily moving averages. We found support from them as well. This is a bit of a horizontal level here as well. You can see these lows, and this high. Sorry, it's a little bit higher. There we go. Closing prices. So potentially it would be really nice to see one more leg higher in this one, but I think the real trouble is going to come at this level in Litecoin Bitcoin here, this low and high. So one more leg a little bit higher, around 8,060. If we get above that, then happy days. We will have 8,845, and probably, I'm going to say 50% of this swing, take that out, we'll be looking up to the 200 moving average. So 0.011924. So this, Litecoin Bitcoin looks promising. Litecoin US dollar, it's like, So we're going to outperform Bitcoin and Litecoin as well, it looks like. Okay, next one we're going to take a look at is Ripple. Ripple loves to tempt us, doesn't it? Here's the problem with Ripple. It's not really a problem, but potentially a problem. This is quite a tough zone. Around 200, 220, these previous lows, 236 fib. I think, though, that we've gotten above it all in Ethereum against Tether, and we should be looking for this 200 moving average now to be support. So this, to me, is a little bit like ETH. This is a support level. Let's see. Here it is, these lows, this high. Let's see if it does hold a support and we can turn it around and reverse it here. So far, so good. We've flattened out. We've gone sideways. Our hourly moving averages are all bunching up. That usually precedes a big move. So I'm going to say that back above 211, this, oh God, I'm looking at ETH, not Ripple. How did that happen? Ever since they changed the thing, I've got the same situation. Sorry. Here we go. Let me hide this. Okay, we're at a big fib level in Ripple. This is Ripple Bitcoin I'm looking at on the weekly. And I'll look at Ripple dollar in the middle in a minute. So if we take these fibs from this low that we made in April to the high that we made in September, the Ripple has been pretty well respecting these fib levels. And this is a 61.8. We bounced off it twice. Here's the 786. So I'm expecting a reaction here. And this is like a, bull bear line. If this one breaks, we'll drop down to the next fib level, which would be 1419 in Ripple Bitcoin. If it doesn't, and if we bounce from here, which it looks like we're trying to do, then again, Ripple is also about to outperform Bitcoin. So let's go down to the daily, and you can see we had a sideways range going on here. We had a double bottom, double top here. We've broken out of it very nicely. We've come back, we've retested these bullish cross of these moving averages, and we should at least, I think, see another leg higher here in Ripple Bitcoin. We're going to retest these highs and lows. This is the next congestion level, first target. And that comes in around 33.41. But for me, with this bullish cross of the moving averages, this is just resistance and a wobble level. And really our target should be 4,517. We should go back to the 200 moving average. And this, when you bounce at a 61.8 fib, your target should be back to the fib that you broke, the 61.8 next. So that would be 45.17 in Ripple Bitcoin. And then above there, we've got a proper bullish reversal. We'd be looking for 7,244 next. So that's Ripple Bitcoin. That looks like it has potential to outperform Bitcoin as well. Here's Ripple Tether. again, just setting up a bullish cross of our daily moving averages, pull back to look to find some support. So here's me looking on a lower time frame to see if we really can find some support here and go higher. There's lots to like about this Ripple tether chart. It looks like an ABC. It's pulled back to 4-hour moving averages really nicely. And if we even look at an hourly, here we are. Get back above this hourly 200 moving average and we're on our way higher. So for me, what's the confirmation that we've reversed? I put my fibs on like this, high to low. If we can get above the 236 fib, we're going higher. So that's here. So here we are kind of hanging around at this level. I'm going to say a little bit higher, above 28.285. You know, I'd really like to see something like, you know, above it, holding, and then, you know, that's when I think we'll for sure going higher. But it's got lots of potential. It's just that this is still the place where we could fail, so I'm not going to go crazy yet in Ripple. I think it has a lot of potential. But the problem is so many of these alts lately have had loads of potential and just they've got to those resistance levels and they've all kind of banged their heads and stopped. And it's quite frustrating. BSV, let's take a look at that one. This is another one. Bitcoin Cash is just doing what Bitcoin is doing, but ABC. No. This had so much promise for a breakout. What we're doing instead, I think, is I'm going to take all of these away and we're just going to look at fib levels and previous supports. So let's go from this high all the way, because that's kind of our support level, isn't it, that we're teetering on. Try and catch the most highs and lows. We'll do it like this. So 115, 117, this is all the way back when a quite big deal level for Bitcoin Cash SV. And if we drop below it, you know, because we're these 61.8 fibs, which I've drawn here, they can be a bit messy. You can extend beyond them. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with that door. You can extend beyond them and they can be a little bit messy. But I think if we break these lows as well, in combination of this 200 moving average, we should look lower from here to 93.93 and the next level down. So watching that low carefully in Bitcoin Cash SV. If we get down here, then potentially we have a bullish Gartley and we look quite good. But the loss of these lows, that's where we're going. So below 115, we drop to 93. And that's quite a lot to give back. Daniel. I'm trying to close the office door. My partner's trying to close the office door to keep the dog out, but unsuccessful. The dog keeps pushing it to see if it'll open. Okay. So that's Bitcoin Cash against Tether. It's not outperforming Bitcoin. I'll take a look at it, but, you know, it's just, if they're going to do it, this is where we should be doing it from. If we go down to an hourly, you can see each time we dip here, there's buyers, but at some point, we may lose the fight. That's all. So let's take a quick look at Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin. On the daily, it's all a bit inconclusive, isn't it? So potentially still in a downtrend at the moment. That's a shame. I think Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin back above this 0.01218 level and the 20 moving average, that would be interesting. You know, you can see at the moment this 20 moving average, every time we've tried to do it, it's capped it for the last at least month. So that would be the change we would be looking for in Bitcoin Cash SV. Otherwise, not much to do in this one. unfortunately. So XLM, let's look at XLM. This is a coin we haven't looked at for a while. And I've got it on the dollar chart to start off with. Let's go to the weekly and we'll start. And this is obviously why, because we've been in this extended downtrend. Now, last week we had a really strong move in this, all the way up to the 236 fib from this high to this low, the weekly 20 moving average, and we got sold again. So I'm afraid, you know, in Fibonacci terms, we're still in a downtrend in XLM against the dollar, and not much to do until that changes. I'm going to take this fib off for the moment and look and see where we go in this if we make new lows, okay? Because we're going to do fib projections using the correction. So 1272, 1.618. We'll put the 113 in, which is where, no, okay. So against the dollar, I think that we have the potential to continue lower to Fibonacci support at 0.0493. These kind of false breaks higher, when they fail, you know, they can be quite powerful reversal signals, unfortunately. And they would have sucked a few people in that one. So let's take a look at it against the dollar. Because here's our lovely attempt at a rally last week. Okay, let's take that away. And again, if we take the last swing lower in this, the 236 fib exactly is where we failed. Now, this looks a little bit more hopeful because potentially we could find support here from these daily moving averages and we could see another swing higher. So if this was our A leg, if you like, or wave one, then we could rally from here to at least retest the highs at 852, but potentially new highs at, you know, 983 and make a big ABC and retest this high here. It all depends really if we can hold these daily moving averages and reverse, and we really now need to be looking on a lower time frame to see if we can do that. Okay, so we've had one low. We need to make a double bottom, a higher low, some kind of maybe inverted head and shoulders pattern, something like that would get me excited about Lumen. So we really, you know, no new lows and a turn higher soon is what I would want to see in Lumen Bitcoin to see if we can hold those daily moving averages. Otherwise, we're all a little bit neutral, unfortunately, and failed at resistance. Okay, now if you wanted to set alarm and you didn't want to buy Lumen unless it was actually for sure going higher, I would put my alarm just above this 236 fib level and I'd put it up here. So if we did come back here on the daily, add an alert. There we go. If we did come back here on the daily, then, you know, you'd get notified and, you know, we take out these highs and we're no longer in a downtrend, we're in a proper uptrend. And so that would be exciting. Okay, so WABI is another one. I can see why WABI is interesting. Look at this lovely bottoming pattern here on the daily. I originally drew it as a sideways range because this is what it is. We've got 2 touches on our top. We've got 3 touches on our bottom. So if we want to know, are we going higher from this bottom rail back up to the top rail again, we're going to use that trend reversal 236 fib thing. And that's where we got rejected, unfortunately, in WABI US dollar. So if we get back above that, so if you buy it, if we turn green here and you buy some, you're going to be looking for it to close above 0.2020 against the US dollar, and that will confirm we're going higher. Now that's US dollar. Not many people trade this against US dollar. They trade it mostly against Bitcoin. So let's see what parameters we can give ourselves for this one. The problem here is, so I'm just gonna take this down. So if we say that this was our last sort of big swing higher, or this was really our last 5 wave swing higher, this 236 fib level resistance lines up with this previous low, and that's where our trend reversal level is. That's what we've got to get above if we're going to go higher. So at 1,800 and something, it's probably, let's call it 1,900 to be completely safe. So if we buy a little reversal here on the low time frame in WABI, Bitcoin, you can see we're building one of those, crypto loves to do this, one of these really tight sideways ranges. So if we break these highs to the upside here, our first target's got to be this 236 fib level, 1887. And then watch out for profit taking there, because, and then if we get above this level, we're going to watch for it to hold as support. And then we can buy more of WABI because we've got a proper breakout. If we don't, if we just go back and retest these highs and then we fall back underneath again, that's it. We're still stuck in the sideways range in WABI. So that's my view of it. Now, if we can break out, where are we going to go? Because this one's spent quite a while. Building this base, I think it's a bit of a wonky inverted head and shoulders pattern. So for sure, we're going to say the 200 moving average. And I think if we can break out above that level, we're going to also, we'll do our fibs all the way from the big high. And we'll say, gosh, the next 236 fib level at 3247, maybe. That would be a good target. The 200 moving average anyway, and these previous lows. And then we'll see where we go from there. But 1887 is, again, in WABI Bitcoin, that is the key to a bullish reversal in that one. Okay, next one we're going to look at is a really old school coin, metal. Haven't looked at this one for a while. Let's go out and see. You know, when these coins have had these massive drops, like for example this one has, there's really not much point in putting your fibs all the way from these highs and saying, oh, the 236 is where we're going. You really have to look at the last swing lower first and go stage by stage and kind of keep your targets realistic. So if we look at metal, we had a pretty nice bullish pause candle, you know, last month. We stopped going down. So if we can make a bit of a base here, we don't make new lows, then potentially we could be setting up a reversal that will take us up to this resistance level at 6119. So that would be our upside target. 6119, the previous lows, that's where it all lines up. So on the weekly, no sign of a bullish reversal yet. On the daily, are we making a base yet? You know, we're under moving averages, but they're flat. Whenever your moving averages are flat, you've got a sideways range. It does look like we are trying to hold this 3,000 level. So let's see. Again, this is another one where here's our, you know, when we look at this hourly 200, I think this hourly 200 is going to be key, but it's so choppy. Okay, we'll just take this swing. So 50% of this high to this low is here, and it puts you above the 200 moving average. If you can get more than that, so if we can get above this 200 moving average and beyond that 50%, I'd be willing to buy pullbacks. You could also do it like by drawing a trend line like this, saying, you know, we need to break these highs to be going higher. Otherwise, we're just in wedge consolidation, which could just as easily in metal go lower from here as higher. So let's put a value on that with that 50% again. 31.53 then becomes our sort of breakout level in the middle here. So we need to hold above and not go back below 31.53. That's how I would like to see this one. And then I would be buying this double bottom in metal. Now whenever you've got a double bottom, which we really do have here, then your first resistance is the top, because it becomes a sideways range, and that's where people take profit from double bottoms. And then when you break above this top, that's your trend reversal. So metal is maybe at the moment, you know, so far it's a double bottom, and that just means it's stopped going down. It's not actually a bullish reversal yet. So let's take a look at some EOS. I'm going to start looking at EOS and Tether. We looked at this in my group this morning because we really wanted to find out, you know, is this going to be the bottom here, or are we going to continue back to these lows in EOS after getting above our daily moving averages, and we get this lovely bullish cross. So at the moment, it's not a buy quite yet. I would like to see it back above the 20 moving average, but it looks pretty good for support in terms of an ABC correction here. Let's look at it on a 4-hour. You can see that we've made an A, B, C. So we've done one of those ones. We'll go back to the daily where we haven't been able to close below the 61.8 level. So we could hold it and rally from here. And if we don't, we're going to drop back down to 3.64. So one of these two levels will give us the bullish reversal that I'm looking for in EOS, and hopefully carry on higher. So 3.8 if we can close above it and follow through higher. Otherwise, look down to 3.64 in EOS Tether. If we look at it on an hourly, it's not quite compelling yet. You know, this choppy overlapping price action sideways here doesn't say quite buy me yet. Let's draw it this way. If you wanted to put an alert somewhere, or to be sure that it was going up, back above this trend line or back above this 200 moving average would be it. Remember, third touches of trend lines are very often false breakouts. What does that mean? It looks like it spikes over the line and then it comes back. That's because anybody can see a trend line with two touches, and that's how that happens. So what you want to see is it above and hold above, and that's your breakout. Okay? EOS Tether. So EOS Bitcoin. I'm just going to zoom out and give a look at the bigger picture in EOS Tether, because if we rally from here, then our first sticky level, because we're reversing at a 786 fib, our first sticky level that we need to get above is the 61.8, and if we can get above that, then we have a clear target at the 38.2, because reversals at a 786 fib go to the 382, and so our target becomes 5.95, but only if we can get above 4.26. So short term, your first target is 4.26, and above there, your big target is 5.95 in EOS Tether. Let's take a quick look at EOS dollar, because EOS against Bitcoin. It would be quite cool if this one could outperform Bitcoin for a bit. And it does look like it's making a little bit of a base. Okay, it's a lower down fib. Instead of being the 786 fib like EOS dollar, we've got the 886 fib. When you reverse at an 886 fib, your target's back to the 50%. So, but only if you get above the fib level higher. So if we make a bullish reversal here, which we look like we could, our first target will be 58.50. And if we can get above 58.50, 12,600. So let's go down to like our 4-hour, see if we are doing anything that looks bottomy, and I think we are. But is it that same old 618? No. I'm going to do the same here, short term. So we'll do the same as EOS dollar. We'll connect these highs. We'll look for a breakout. like this. And that will be a really nice long entry. Above this 200 and holding above it would really help as well in EOS Bitcoin. So looking quite good in both of them, EOS Bitcoin and EOS dollar. So EOS is also has the potential to outperform here. I'm not drawing that trend line very well at all, am I? In fact, I'm useless. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, lots of potential in EOS, but guess what? This 200 moving average on the hourly is a bit of a killer. If we can't get above it, what we could just do is rally here, and then they'll say, oh, thank you very much, and we'll do another leg lower, and then we've got 3 drives, and then, you know, then we'll do a bigger correction, and then and so, you know, you've got to really, this high and this 200 moving average on the hourly, I'd like to see us holding and riding above it better. It's really quite an important trend thing. So, okay, what's my view on backed? Is it going to make, I think my view on backed is it's going to make a difference, but it takes time. People expect it to be instant, and it takes time to build up clients and build up these markets, and it may never take off. I think it will. I hope it does, and I think it'll be a big influence when it does. You know, at the moment, you know, CME has got lots coming as well. I think there's lots coming to really expand trading in Bitcoin. What we really need now, though, is people to use Bitcoin, not just to be a thing that we speculate on the price on, but it needs to get better and faster so that more people use it. That's kind of my view. Till then, we'll just keep trading it. I don't mind trading it, but I would rather see more adoption, you know. Okay, let's look at CND, which is another quite interesting chart. Here's Syndicator. So we've been looking at this one on the daily. I'm going to take this away. I had thought that we would get resistance at this level and retest these daily moving averages, but we haven't. We've seen a really spectacular trend reversal in this one. So I'm going to zoom out, and we're going to take just this last 5-way swing lower. We're going to look for where the 236 fib is, because that will be our first target. So if we're buying pullbacks, that's where we're going to look to buy again for a target. I'm also going to draw this spike low, because it looks to me like that level is causing a little bit of a problem. On the daily, certainly, you know, I would probably really like to see a close above this level, and it's at 100, big round 100 on this sharp drop. So 100 then becomes a level we can buy against, get above, buy against. So here, for example, if we can turn higher from here and hold support at this 100 level, that would be pretty cool. You wouldn't need too big of a stop. I would put it under my 50. You know, I'd probably put it right somewhere at now 90, and I'd be looking for 151 next, which is the 236 fib. In fact, once we go green, I probably would just put my stop under this low. I think it's a big deal level that we've tried a couple of times, and above it would be a really good place to buy against on a pullback. Now, let's go to the daily again, because this is our first resistance level. But when you get a bullish cross like this with your moving averages, I think just as likely the 200 moving average is our next target, and this level here it is. So 199. So 200. This coin goes from big round number to big round number, doesn't it? Syndicator Bitcoin. So above 100, we have some resistance at 150, but we'd be looking for 200 next in Syndicator and the 200-day moving average. That is total crypto. You know, ETH used to be like that in big round $50 or $100 increments. Okay. Next one we're going to look at is Sonm, SONM. Now, this is a favorite. We've looked at this one quite a lot in our group. This is another one with a big spike level that's causing a problem. Just like Syndicator, just like so many alts, everything is at resistance. So in this coin, it's at 200. God, don't tell me this. No, it's not. 130. So this previous high here, I think will find support. But at the moment, we've failed at resistance in this one. And we need to wait till this bottoms before we can buy it again. So there's a number of ways that we can project where this would happen. We can look for a big ABC correction here. So that would say support potentially at 143. And if 143 fails, all the way down to 92. Another way, we'll do fib retraces from this low. There's nothing there, is there? These other levels have been quite well respected, aren't they? 50% was 61.8. Yeah, you know, there's not much we can do until we watch this turn up again. I would put Sonam on the back burner just because of the failure and the level it failed at. For me, this is, you know, unfortunately still in a downtrend, and this potentially from this, I hate to say it, could come all the way back and retest these daily moving averages and the breakout level before it starts up again. So I would not be hanging on too much. You know, whenever I am looking at a big screaming rally like this, okay, so let's look at when it was going on from the low here. If we keep our fib retraces on it, you know, all the way up. First off, you know, we had a really nice little shallow retrace here when we got here. Pull back to the 38.2. That usually, a 38.2 retrace usually points to a wave 3, and you'll see another leg higher. Sure enough, we did when we got up here. And for me, I would have taken profit on this spike when we got back underneath this 236 fib, because that points to me to a bigger, you know, correction after this 38.2 pullback. That's just one of the kind of rules I have. I'll wait to buy it again. Didn't get a buy entry, so yeah, Sonam, I think that we're in line for a bigger pullback, and I would not be hanging on to my longs. I would wait and see. Potentially 144 will hold, I think, but more likely 93, a retest of 93. Okay. XTZ had news today. So XTZ is being listed on Binance. So I was watching this one really closely when the news came out, and I thought, you know, first of all, because it had made this lovely bullish flag here in between these daily moving averages, and I thought, you know, this would be great if it breaks out, but very often on these news it'll break out and then it'll come all the way back again. This one hasn't. It's done really well. So for me, the support now that we can buy on pullbacks is here at this daily 50 moving average. Okay, and that's at what, 10,900. So when I look at this pullback here now, looking for a tight little ABC, and 10,900 to be support. So almost there. We might see a bit of a rally like this. And then XTZ, we should see some follow through to the upside. And where are we going to go? The 200 moving average. What if this is just a big bearish ABC? If that's our first leg, then we measure it from there. We should get up to 15,136 and 15,300 anyway, and the 200 moving average on another leg higher, with 12,985 as a resistance. If we fail there, then we're just in a big sideways consolidation. But this move today above the daily 50 usually sees strong follow through. Look what happened here when we got above the daily 50. So, you know, it won't be too big of a pullback, as I said, if it's going to fly. Okay. Michael Mabus says, please do Tether. It's been stuck. Are you talking about XTZ against Tether, Michael? Or are you talking about Sonam? XTZ US dollar, I don't mind doing. Yeah, it has been stuck at $1. And you know, this is quite a cool bottoming pattern now. I don't normally, I have to say, I don't normally like head and shoulders patterns that slope this way. I like them when they slope the other way and it's clearer when you've broken out. But this way, you know, sometimes we could, especially if it's a bit of a steep line, what you'll do is you'll see it kind of grub up the line and it'll never quite break out. But this one does look very good. I'm going to put fibs on. Hasn't been at Coinbase that long. Let's say that above 1.19 would be for sure going higher. Maybe not 1.9, 1.186. There we go. 1.186 would be the 236 fib, and that would be a reversal for sure. I'm going to try another broker with more history, because we have been stuck at this $1 level for quite a long time. Again, we've got the same pattern, we've got the same fib. One in XTZ dollar at Bitfinex, our level we need to close above for a breakout though is 1.1413. I love it when the moving averages are bunched up like this. So 1.1413, a daily close above that, or a break above this neckline, which is a little bit slopey. That would be your bullish reversal in XTC dollar. It looks good, doesn't it? Let me... This could be A, B, C, where C is 61.8 of A, correction complete here as well. And we could therefore see new highs from this pattern. Yeah, XTZ. Don't underestimate the major resistance that we've got here though with these daily moving averages. We really do need to push above them and push above that 1.18 level. Okay, that's XTZ. RLC is another one. We've been watching. Gosh, I thought I had it here. I know. 1 second. Never mind. We'll just draw it. I've lost my chart. Here it is. Okay. Now, I'm going to actually not do the big fib thing and not take all of this off. And we'll start again. Because this is another one which is looking like it's starting to put one of those bottoming patterns in. First of all, it stops going down and then it goes into a sideways range. Your moving averages flatten out. And this is also, see how gappy this chart is because of the prices? This is a really good chart to use Heikin Ashi on. Heikin Ashi is a moving average on a candle and it smooths everything out so you can see what's going on. So in this one, it looks like we've closed above our 50 moving average, pulled back, found support, and we're about to see some follow through higher from here. That would be great. So we'll extend. This is the resistance, support and resistance level that we need to get above if we're going to break out in this one. See these lows, highs, highs. 23,949. So 23,950. It's really 24,000, isn't it? So above 24,000, we're really bullish. And we're watching this to see. Looks good. That's the hourly 4-hourly 200. Yeah. Hourly 200 says support. Now, it may be when you see this pattern, it may be that you end up with a bit of an inverted head and shoulders like this. So you may have to be a little bit patient, but that level is where I would have my alarm for sure. Okay. And then a request to look at NOIA. Cryptoconomy says he always uses Heikin-Ashi candles. Do you know they're so reliable? Like, if you think about it, let's go back. Let's find any old chart. And if you just put them on a, I don't know, let's look at OS, say for example. If you just put them on Heikin-Ashi on a daily chart like this, okay, and you buy when it goes, because you can see there's very few false signals. And if you do, you know, you're never going to get smashed on a false signal because it's a moving average. It's all smoothed out a little bit. So if you just bought when they went from red to green, sold when they went red again, you know, you wouldn't do too badly in a trend. When the uptrends come back, you wouldn't do too badly in any of these markets. You know, what the Heikin-Ashi are really good for is keeping you in when a market is trending. So say, for example, I love it on a 4-hour, but say, for example, a market is trending, you know, and you buy the change. Now, if we look at this, you would have bought against 200 moving average, and you would have ridden all of this. Whereas if we put regular candles on in this 4-hour, in this, you would have seen that, you know, there's quite a few times when it would have gone, oh, is this a reversal? Is this about to start going lower? You know, so it is very good for keeping you in with the trend, definitely. So we're going to look at NOIA. Are we making a bottom here? Well, you can see that clearly we've made a bit of a bottom here before. There's a very, I've just drawn this because it might make a bottoming pattern. What I want to say about this one is clearly twice this 236 fib level at 41,700 has been resistance in NOIA network Bitcoin. Okay, so forget my maybe it'll turn into a diamond drawing here. It may be turned into a diamond, but this is clearly our resistance. So if we can rally off the bottom here, that's going to be our first target and where we're looking to get above. Okay, so that's our daily view of this one. If we go down to a 4-hour, now we can clearly we've got some short-term resistance that will tell us if we've broken out and if we're going to go higher, and that's at 32,400. And probably if I put my fib on, the 236 fib will go there as well. Oh no, it's a bit higher. Okay, so that'll be a little bit of trouble. 33,400 as well. So for now, we're sideways, building a bit of a base. Watch out if this lower trend line breaks down. It will set up a retest of the lows, and that may happen. But if we break these highs, I think you can put your toe in the water and have a little go at the long side. Still a lot of resistance to get through. But your target first should be that 41,700, 41,900 resistance at the highs. And then above there, yeah, happy days. We've got a big head and shoulders pattern. Okay, I'm going to zoom back to the beginning because there was lots of requests tonight. ADA, we didn't look at. Let's go back and look at ADA. ADA's like code word for my heartbreaker. ADA will always get that extra mile. So this is ADA Tether to start off with. Big picture in ADA Tether weekly. I think we're bouncing from a big 786 fib. That's from the low in December 2018 to the high that we made in June. So 786 fib. If we're going to confirm the reversal, we've got to get back above this 61.8. So that's why I've drawn it like that. The candles are pretty good so far, but we've had a little bit of a stall. Why have we stalled here? This is the question. And what does it mean? I think we're pulling back to retest these daily moving averages. And a bit of a horizontal level. Like this. So short term, I would really like to see ADA hold these lows. If we are going to make a base and carry on higher from here, that's what we need to see. So low time frame, when I look down, you know, since yesterday, we have built a pretty good base. Double bottom, sharp retest here, but we haven't managed to break out of the sideways upper range of this sideways range. So let's call it 49.48, 0.4948 in ADA. So good level to bounce from, but no, just waiting for the sign. So I would even put it a little bit higher above this ALI 200 moving average. I would put an alert here. Created. Now that's ADA tether. So let's see how ADA is holding up against Bitcoin. Because if we're not outperforming Bitcoin, there's not too much point spending too long on this chart. Now I'm gonna clean that up. Okay, let's look very simply at kind of fib extension rules. So we drew our fib extension from this rally, again from the December 18 to the June to the April-March highs here. Okay, and we bounced initially from this 1272 fib extension, but when we got underneath it, it became resistance. Not only that, but in ADA Bitcoin, this looks like a perfect ABC, bearish ABC. So this says to me, for the next little bit, you can see perfect equal measured move back to resistance. So this bearish ABC staying under resistance says to me that for the next little while, ADA's not going to outperform Bitcoin. So it really shouldn't be at the top of my watch list. I want to be looking for the altcoins that are going to outperform Bitcoin, and ADA isn't one of them unless she can get back above 528 and hold above 528. If she does that, then I'm in. So that's what I'm watching for. And the risk is holding under this 1272 fib level points to this 1.618 extension, and in ADA Bitcoin that's at 143. We're at 493. It's a big drop. So I would be a little bit careful. If ADA makes new low here, honestly, don't hold on to a bag of it. Like, that would be crushing. Okay, I'm just gonna ZRX. We'll take a look at. Yeah, I love ZRX myself. A little bit of Ox. As you can see, I've been doing a lot of scribbling here, so we'll start again and take a look. Now, whenever I'm looking at fibs and short-term fib levels, I kind of look for the most obvious big swing lower. So I'm going to say this is probably the obvious one, and we're holding above this 236 fib level, which is quite nice. So what I'd like to see here is a little bit of a support and maybe a little bit of a head and shoulders like this, and a swing higher from here in ZRX Bitcoin. However, what if I've drawn this fib wrong and I should have drawn it from here, say? That's okay, haven't got there yet. That's all right, and so on. And the bigger fib is here. So I think this one is looking pretty good on the daily. Bullish cross of our daily moving averages to go higher. And I'm looking for a pullback to support and hopefully some kind of basing pattern. So there's the support from this low, this high, somewhere in the middle here, around 2021. And here's our highs that we need to break above if we're going to go higher. So let's see if we can fill in like this in ZRX Bitcoin. So support 2020. Now 2020, let's make sure that's actually a fib level. And because this looks like 5 waves up, yeah, look, that's 50% back. Actually is at 2068. So it might not come quite that far. It might only come to 2068 in ZRX Bitcoin. Now this one, see, because I can count 5 waves up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would expect 3 waves back. So if we go look at it like 1, 2, let's see if this one extends. Yeah, that would be a nice look. Okay, so ZRX. Okay. Miguel thinks it's a WXY. Good. Okay. Thank you. And Andreas says, can we have a look at basic attention token? Definitely. I like basic attention token. I mean, I suppose I kind of like it as a project because I understand it, you know. Well, not that I don't understand them, but anyway. Okay. Here's basic attention token. And here is the big fat problem with basic attention token. I've drawn my fibs all the way from, this is at Binance, all the way from this low to this high on my BAT Bitcoin chart. Okay. And this was the 786 fib here at 2090. This low, okay, almost this low. And this is our resistance, that we are not going higher unless we can get back above this level. And if we can, because this is 786 fib, we should go all the way back to these highs. But I'm watching it. And so far, it's been pretty miserable. And in fact, today, it was the high. Exactly. So unless basic attention token can get back above 2090 and hold above 2090, technically for me, it's not. It's going to go lower. And if this was a 786 fib, let's go back to the daily. It'll go to that 886 fib next, which is down here at 1160. Gosh, I hope not. Now, it might be it's just not ready yet. So it might be it just needs time. Build up a more of a, you know, a base. Build up a pattern we know. Something like that. But either way, 2090 is what it's got to get above if it's going to go higher in basic attention token against Bitcoin. I like it, but I would feel much better buying it if it was above that level. Okay. Hopefully I haven't missed anything. Okay. So there we are. An awful lot of these altcoins have a really good look, but they're at those resistance levels. So our Ripple at the resistance level, our XLM, you know, really need above this resistance level and need to see a turn higher. It looks good. It's not quite alt season yet though, is it? Unfortunately. Okay. And Zamo says, can't ADA be in a potential 5th wave reversal? Yeah, let's see ADA. Definitely. Look. ADA Bitcoin. I'm not sure ADA Binance has the biggest history. Let me... let's take a look at this. Okay. Just going to clean up my chart completely, okay? Yeah, if in that case, you know, ADA would be setting up a retest of the lows, wouldn't it? Or pretty close to the lows. And this kind of, you're right, this choppy, overlapping ABC pattern is very typical of a wave 4. And then we've got the 5th wave, final leg. So remember, when you see a wedge or a triangle consolidation, very often it'll break with a trend, but then it will be the last leg. So just to qualify here, all we would need to see is a marginal new low, and then that would be... So, thank you very much. Honestly, this market right now is the trickiest it has been. I was really counting on a September rally in Bitcoin. I'm a little bit disappointed that we're not, you know, on our way, but it is what it is. So, oh, the other way round. Oh, could it do a fifth wave higher? Yeah, it could. It could. Or it could just be a corrective third drive. Yeah, it could. You know, very often it'll just go sideways and then it'll take off, you know. So a good bet way I look at it is 50% of the last swing lower, okay? That's always the tricky level. So I always mark that and watch that and what happens there. So this is our last swing lower. So an ABC that can't get past the 50%, it, for me, is always a little bit of a bear look, and vice versa if it's going up. But if we get above this, then I'm thinking, oh yeah, we'll probably retest the highs, and if not, do a bit more. So in ADA, that would be 524. Yeah, I think if we get above this level, we're probably going to retest those highs. Okay, well everyone, thank you very much for coming. Sorry it's not better news. I really sorry it's not better news. You know, I've put my toe in the water a couple of times with Ripple and with not with Ripple, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I am going to try and buy Ethereum again if we get the right setup, because I think it's set to outperform for a little bit, but if it just all crashes, I'm just going to sit on my hands and keep my ammunition dry and ready. Okay, good night everyone, thanks for coming.